Max Verstappen secured another victory in the Canadian Grand Prix, but it wasn't a standout performance for Red Bull. Their formidable RB19 car displayed vulnerabilities as rival cars closed in on the top position. With their dominance now under threat, Christian Horner is suggesting a potential replacement for Sergio Perez. Curious to know who Horner has in mind? Stay tuned to today's video to find out. But before we do that, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button down below if you like all things F1. Alright, now let's get back to the video. Red Bull's Christian Horner has fueled rumors about Alex Albon possibly replacing Sergio Perez in the team. Albon's impressive performance at the Canadian Grand Prix has gained strong support for him to take Perez's place, as Perez has struggled to match Max Verstappen's performance in the dominant car. Despite having a contract until 2024, there is a growing belief that Perez's contract may not be extended. No official confirmations have been made by the team or the driver. Fans have noticed that Horner liked a recent Instagram post from Williams featuring Albon with the caption, "Your driver of the day," which has caught their attention. Although Albon is currently not associated with Red Bull, Horner praised his performance in Canada during an interview and raised speculation about Red Bull considering him again, given Perez's decline in form. When asked by a fan on the Sky F1 podcast if Perez deserved the second seat at Red Bull, Kravitz shared his thoughts. Yes, although Christian Horner was quick to praise Alex Albon, wasn't he? I thought that was interesting in that Alex Albon has now severed all of his ties. He doesn't even have the Red Bull on the side of his helmet anymore. He still has the links with the Uvidhia family, who are 51% owners of Red Bull. There's a couple of sponsors that he has which is linked to the Uvidhia family and their other brands that they have in Thailand. But Alex is not in the Red Bull camp anymore, and Alex Albon finishing 7th in Williams even though it was 20 seconds behind, while Checo made the extra pit stop behind Checo Perez. Checo Perez in a Red Bull in 6th wasn't lost on anybody, and least it seems Christian Horner. If Albon were to make a comeback, it wouldn't be his first time. In the 2019 season, he was brought back to Red Bull alongside Daniil Kvyat due to a shortage of young racing talents. However, Albon was eventually dropped by Red Bull once again, which was disappointing for him. Now, he is thriving at Williams, although the team is currently not as strong as Red Bull. It's uncertain if Albon would be willing to return and potentially face the same challenges as Verstappen's teammate, which caused difficulties in the past. Now, let's discuss a turning point for Red Bull. Helmut Marko believes that Red Bull's competitors were able to catch up during the Canadian Grand Prix because the team didn't meet their usual high standards. Max Verstappen secured his 6th victory of the 2023 F season at the Gilles Villeneuve circuit, finishing with a 9-second lead over Fernando Alonso in 2nd place and a 14-second advantage over Lewis Hamilton in 3rd. Although the gap behind Verstappen has been larger in previous races, Marko was asked if he sees the gap closing between Red Bull and their rivals. During an interview with the F1 Nation podcast, he shared his thoughts, stating, "Yes, it did come closer here, but we didn't perform as we should have. We couldn't bring the tires to temperature, especially the hard tire. We couldn't get the right temperature. Everybody thinks the Red Bull is a fantastic car. Yes, it's a good car. But Ferrari and also Mercedes, they didn't improve from last year. I think they reversed in the beginning of the season. So when we are not at our best, they are nearer. That's as easy as that." However, Marko acknowledged that both Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz showcased better speed than the Red Bulls throughout the entire 70-lap race in Montreal. He hinted that Red Bull's victory at the Canadian Grand Prix could have been at risk if the Ferrari drivers had started the race from higher grid positions. During an interview with Service TV, he admitted this: "It wasn't easy. We had problems with the hard tires to get them up to temperature. The race was harder than we thought. But luckily, Ferrari started further back as they were fastest on both sets of tires." Red Bull has had a flawless start to the 2023 F1 season, winning all 8 Grand Prix events and establishing a significant lead over their rivals. Teams like Mercedes, Aston Martin, and Ferrari have been making their initial efforts in the development battle. Although Max Verstappen's winning margin in Canada was reduced, His impressive lead of 9.5 seconds over Fernando Alonso from Aston Martin, even with a safety car period, shows the tough challenge for other teams. The FIA implemented new regulations to close the performance gap, but Red Bull has managed to establish a dominant position that is currently out of reach for their rivals. However, Tom Bazzi suggests that this dominance is temporary. He points out that the competitive pack behind Red Bull, including Mercedes, Aston Martin, and Ferrari, is engaged in fierce battles with other teams not far behind. Tom Bazzi predicts that Red Bull will soon find themselves in the midst of this intense competition, possibly in the coming months. He mentioned this to Corriere della Sera. Putting Red Bull aside, everyone else is close, and I think it's only a matter of time before performance convergence is achieved. Maybe it will be achieved in the next few months. Maybe it will be early next year. Tom Bazzi is optimistic because teams like Aston Martin, Mercedes, and Ferrari are taking inspiration from Red Bull's RB19 design for their own cars. Mercedes and Ferrari have even made mid-season changes, incorporating side pods similar to Red Bull's design. This strategic move, especially by Mercedes, is showing positive results and contributing to Tom Bazzi's confidence. Tom Bazzi hopes for a season like 2021, where Verstappen and Hamilton fiercely competed for the championship until the final lap. He also expects exciting performances from other teams, such as Alpine winning a race and Ferrari and McLaren showing their competitiveness at different circuits. The prospect of a closely contested season with multiple teams in the mix fuels Tom Bazzi's optimism for the future of Formula One. He said, "Almost everyone is going towards the Red Bull technical concept, even Mercedes and Ferrari. We hope to see very close world championships again, maybe like it was in 2021. But we cannot create them artificially. We cannot fight against the ability of some to do a better job than others. It must be admitted that there are those who have done better with these rules." Verstappen is currently in a strong position, leading the driver's standings with a 69-point advantage over his Red Bull teammate Sergio Perez. He has achieved an impressive record of 6 victories out of the first 8 Grand Prix races. In the Constructors' Championship, Red Bull holds a substantial lead, being 154 points ahead of their closest rival, Mercedes. These impressive numbers demonstrate Red Bull's dominant position in both the individual and team championships this season. And that wraps up today's video. What are your thoughts on the rumors surrounding Alex Albon potentially replacing Sergio Perez at Red Bull? Will Red Bull's dominance be challenged by their rivals? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.